Some people are suggesting this team should be sellers at the deadline. And the deadline's coming, I believe it's on July 31st. And even if people are saying they shouldn't be sellers right now, they're saying that this week is going to determine whether they are going to be sellers, which I think is so ridiculous. And after the win last night, it really shows why you cannot give up on this team. Now, I don't know if anyone is giving up on this team, but there's been a variety of comments, whether it's by writers in the Globe, Pete Abraham, or a bunch of different guys who would talk about trading certain players at the trade deadline. And to me, I just think it's so ridiculous when I look at the roster of this Red Sox team. Now, this Red Sox team is on pace for 88 wins, which isn't great. We know they're better than that. Last year they had 108. They're not 108 good. No one is 108 good. Last year they had a perfect season. However, they can be somewhere in between. And clearly last year was not a fluke. The talent was too good. It wasn't like the 2013 Red Sox that just somehow got it together. Everything went right. They had guys like Johnny Gomes and Mike Napoli and certain guys step up. That team was not that talented, and that was a fluke of a year. Last year was not a fluke. It's really hard for teams to have two consistent seasons like that in baseball. 108 win seasons don't happen for a reason, because the game is so hard. But just because the Sox have been inconsistent up to this point in the season, and because they're not playing to expectations, does not mean that they can't get there. And when you look at teams of how to show whether inconsistent success in the regular season will show itself in the playoffs, and I talked about this in the podcast last week, a huge determiner of that is whether the team has won before or not. It's hard to say that you should sell on a team because they're inconsistent with basically the same amount of talent last year, basically the same players, minus Kimbrel, and I've talked about that. But it's basically the same team minus Kimbrel. They're underperforming, but they won it all last year. So you're going to give up on the team and sell and trade guys at the deadline? Or if they don't perform well this week, but they had a big win last night, and I'm not saying this week is not important for this team. It's clearly important. You're playing the Rays, and they're going to play the Yankees. There aren't a ton of games left, so I get how these games are important. But to say these bold statements like they need to sweep or they need to go 10-4 in their next 14 games, it's not true. We get to a couple weeks left in the season, all right, then we talk. But again, they're tied with the Rays now in the loss column for the wild card. Oakland is 2 games up for them in the loss column. Those are the 2 teams that are in front of them. Is anyone scared of either of those 2 teams? I don't think so. When you look at the talent, I'm not going to pretend like I know the Rays or the Indians or Oakland in and out, because I'm not watching baseball. No one's watching baseball. But when you look at the Red Sox talent, and you look at what they can do in the playoffs if they get there, and they're so close to getting there, that to sell to me is so beyond absurd.